Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis, QueenCokeFrancis. I'm an editor, Twitch streamer, drag artist, and I'm here because I don't think I've ever been so excited to make a video about something. If you've been following me over the past few years, you'll know that I've made several videos about the fact that apparently the Daily Wire makes movies now because someone keeps giving these idiots camera equipment and I really don't know why. I've watched 3 so far, and they range from decently made to amongst the worst I've ever seen in my pretty life. And now they've decided to dip their toesy woesies into the world of adult animation. And honestly, thank God we have them to contribute to such a lacking market and giving the people what they really want and need. This latest abomination is called Mr. Birchum, a show Adam Carolla tried pitching for years and was never able to get it made. He says it's because it was too offensive, but it was actually because everyone was like, aren't you that less famous jerk-off from The Man Show? And then someone else was like, what the fuck is The Man Show? And the answer was always, you don't want to know.
Tell us what you think of the statue. I mean, do you think that she's attractive or not? Take another look at her.
Until Adam joined the Daily Wire island of problematic misfit toys, who saw a script comprised entirely of boomer Facebook memes and were like, this one. And perhaps worst of all, this show is trying to jumpstart Megyn Kelly's voice acting career. And as someone who works with voice actors as my day job, the very idea of Megyn Kelly voice acting set off my fight or flight response. Mr. Birchum is a woodshop teacher at a high school where he has to deal with the woke teachers and the woke students and his woke kids and woke. Jesus Christ, this really is all these people ever think about. He's also a true product of conservative media illiteracy because they all clearly watched King of the Hill and Parks and Rec, but have no comprehension of likable conservative characters like Hank Hill or Ron Swanson. I mean, you didn't think the Daily Wire was actually going to make a quality product and write good characters instead of pandering to an audience who, believe it or not, is kind of starting to tune the fuck out. As you can imagine, they didn't see the compassion and humanity in Hank Hill, and they didn't see the unconventional charm and overflowing riz of Ron Swanson. Compassion, humanity, charm, and riz aren't exactly this group's strong points, and as a result, Mr. Birchum is just an empty, hollow caricature of a middle-aged conservative male, one who exists solely to complain and tell his lead-poisoned audience exactly what they want to hear. Maybe not though, because apparently a lot of their fans are super butthurt over the fact that there's an openly gay character in this show.
And I don't know why. I'm surprised, honestly. But I am, because they put in a gay character. And I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna watch it. They have every TV show. Why not give the conservatives just one where we don't have to hear about it?
See guys, you can't escape us. You never will. We're everywhere, and we're coming for your children, oogity boogity oogity boogity. No, but really, aside from people whining about that, the overwhelming majority of their audience hated the show because it's simply a bad show, and painfully unfunny. They're clearly not as stupid as the Daily Wire seems to assume they are, which is, once again, yet another entry into the ever-growing catalog of Daily Wire self-owns, available now on Amazon.com. But I will say, it does give me hope to see that their mindless pandering is actually starting to backfire for once. Which brings us to the topic of this video. Mr. Birchum is a rugged, all-American male who loves wood, frequently talks about bears, and prefers the company of men over women. He frequently butts heads, pun fully intended, with Elliot Carponzi, the woke gay teacher, complete with a man bun and the absolutely disgusting habits of asking people people for their consent and being respectful. In the process of trying to make Elliot the butt of their jokes, pun intended once again, there are actually some beautiful, loving, tender moments between Mr. Birchum and Elliot Carponzi. This is an actual clip from the show. This is queer representation that matters, and we have none other than the Daily Wire to thank for that. And their chronic inability to stay in touch with the internet landscape outside of their own echo chamber has resulted in something they did not see coming. There is currently a massive influx of Mr. Birchum yaoi. Girl, let me tell you, it has been adding years to my lifespan. So I've taken it upon myself to rank all the Mr. Birchum yaoi I could find, because you couldn't pay me to actually watch this show, and because I'm heavily procrastinating on my other Pride Month video.
Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time.
'Tis the season. But before we look at these fine works of art, if you are a fan of watching a very tired drag queen talk about nerd shit forever, I ask that you please angrily show up at your child's school to complain about the current curriculum. But when you meet that cute woke teacher and your heart just melts, fulfill your destiny by going ahead and unzipping your pants and dick slapping those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. By the way, obviously none of this art is my own, even though I have dabbled in the art of yaoi every so often. I'll do my best to credit all the artists. If for whatever reason I haven't, or if I misattributed something to someone, just let me know. Also, I know art is subjective. What flips my flapjack might not flip yours, so feel free to disagree with any of my choices. Just know that none of them landed below a C. Solid work, all of you. Alright, first up we have this piece. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to track down the artist yet. We've got a classic Pride Month background, 'tis the season after all, and you can really see the conflict in Mr. Birchum's eyes as visions of him kissing Elliot dance through his head. Not sure why he has a Squidward nose in his dreams, but hey, this is his fantasy. Who are we to judge? Good work overall. I'm gonna put this one in the B category. This next one is from Captain Calcium. This one definitely deserves points in the originality department. It's actually a quite tragic representation of their relationship. Clearly, both these men want something that they believe only a higher power could possibly give to them. I'm not super crazy about the artwork itself. Maybe in this universe, Mr. Birchum got into a horrible woodshop accident and lost an arm. I'm not sure. I'm putting this one in the C category, not because it's bad, but just because the others are that much better. I'm a big fan of this next one from Candy Melody too. Here the pair are actually getting married, and there are so many great nods to the original show and the dynamic between the two. As you can see, Mr. Birchum is looking radiant in his wedding gown. Elliot is looking handsome as ever with his little tux and name tag. There's a reference to Mr. Birchum's love of wood, of course, and to Elliot's habit of asking people for their consent. Great background and shading too. I'm gonna give this one a high A. I wasn't able to find the artist for this one, unfortunately, but here we have a simple black and white sketch of our couple. The art style is actually pretty similar to the show itself, and there's nothing like a good nose boop. It's a great addition to any yaoi art. Once again though, I am putting this one in the C pile, not because it's bad by any means, but just because the others are that much better. Next up we have this piece by Ixudoti. I know I probably butchered that pronunciation, I'm so sorry. It jokingly says it's toxic old man yaoi, but this is anything but toxic here. We go from a black and white sketch to a fully realized color drawing of what I'm assuming is a reference to that dance scene from the show. In classic yaoi fashion, we have the opposing emotional dynamic between the two. Elliot's looking like a Disney character here, even. I'm gonna give this one an A. This next one I couldn't find the artist for either. We've got some really great tongue action going here. And aside from some proportion issues, this looks like it could be an actual screenshot from the show. But I'm especially impressed with how they nailed the color palette here. This is definitely authentic, generic, adult animated sitcom realness. So I'm gonna give this one a low A. This one right here, wow, just Wow, I'm so disappointed that I have to blur part of this so that I don't get demonetized, but this piece by Max Draws Stuff is definitely the most provocative one I found so far. They definitely leaned more into the Bara interpretation of this couple, which really makes the most sense considering how much Mr. Birchum values his masculinity and loves talking about wood and bears. Elliot is right up in Mr. Birchum's very well-endowed space. It's barely contained by a single jockstrap. The wedding ring is an especially nice touch, and therefore this is our very first S-ranked piece. This next one is from Lyco Candy, and it's stylistically similar to that one from before, so maybe it's the same artist? Either way, they really nail the original art style from the show. Normally, I'd probably give this one a B, but the fact that it looks like a real screenshot puts it into the low A category, just because it would probably piss off the Daily Wire the most. Here's another unclaimed piece. This one is a series of doodles that, while small and simple, really demonstrate the dynamic between the two. Once again, Mr. Birchum cannot get Elliot's adorable blushing face out of his mind. He starts blushing, and God, these two are just precious. I think this one really has potential, so I'm gonna give it a high B. This next one is from Bar Ivanka. Again, I don't know why they call this toxic. It's a lovely, timeless message and a very nice inclusion of the bisexual flag, which acknowledges that Mr. Birchum is still attracted to women, but Elliot is that special man who inspired him to broaden his horizons. Definitely not a traditional yaoi style drawing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna give this one a high B. This next one by Plasma is absolutely in love with this piece. It differs from the others in that Mr. Birchum is the one on Elliot's mind here. It's conceptually so funny. Once again, Mr. Birchum's nose is big enough to hang over the entire man bun. Was this a running joke from the show? Wait, no, there's no way that show has jokes. Anyway, fantastic work here by Plasmas. You've earned your spot in the S-rank category. Here's another Pride Month piece by Gay Silent Bob. Interesting line work that I haven't seen yet, so I gotta give points to that. Unfortunately, Elliot's hair kind of gets lost in the orange stripe on the flag, and his beard seems to be impeding their ability to kiss. I don't know if this was meant to symbolize the taboo nature of their relationship. I am putting this one in the C category, but again, it's not personal. It's just competition. This next one by Hans Plastic X was actually the first one that I came across when Mr. Birchum was trending on Twitter for all the best reasons, and it was the one that inspired me to make this video, especially because I'm a big fan of this kind of positioning in yaoi where the top has his finger under the chin of the bottom. Absolutely timeless. Once again, we have a reference to Mr. Birchum's mug that says I heart wood. God damn, that guy really loves wood. Solid work. I'm giving this one an A. I'm a big fan of this next one by Live Me Down because this one really tells a story and expands upon a lot of the references that the other artists have made in their works. The tension between the two is palpable. Elliot is probably regretting wearing his black SJW Strawman shirt because it's getting so hot in there. And Mr. Birchum finally admits his truth. He doesn't just love wood. He loves Elliot's wood. At first, Elliot doesn't know what to do with himself, but he does give in and, in classic Elliot fashion, asks for Mr. Birchum's consent. And then we see the reality. This was all just a fantasy playing out in Mr. Birchum's mind. This is just a sketch that could easily become a graphic novel. I'm giving this one a high A. Here's an interesting one from Prismo Kisser where Mr. Birchum and Elliot are not at the school and not even in their own neighborhood. In this piece, they've absconded to a beach where they can finally consummate their love without fear of judgment, since seagulls are notoriously accepting of gay people. All while the sun sets in the background. Great color work too. This one goes in the A pile. Okay, I guess you guys can tell where my tastes lie because this is another favorite of mine from Citrus Flower 25. I really love this art style that's juxtaposed with the lore accurate art that's superimposed in the background. And once again, the Bara influence really comes through here with Mr. Birchum's big ol' titties. This is another example where Elliot's just so overwhelmed that his tongue rolls out, seemingly involuntarily, which is an accurate depiction of the bottom's human condition. And too many artists aren't brave enough to illustrate that. I'm gonna give this one a highly esteemed S ranking. We're coming up on our last couple of pieces. This next one is by Comica 7, and we've got a lot of interesting things going on here. Firstly, Mr. Birchum and Elliot seem to be feeling equally naughty with each other, and then we have this word art at the bottom, and I'm sure it's true. Both of these men love fighting for freedom in their own special ways, but do you know what they have in common? Fighting for the freedom to love each other. This one gets a high B. Finally, here's a piece from BioRange that is beautiful. Just beautiful. I really did save the best for last. Incredible line work, great colors that pop, this layered kind of pop art background that almost looks like a disco ball. Truly a unique work of art that deserves its rightful spot in the S rank category. Fabulous work. Anyway, I don't really have that much to say other than great work to everyone whose art I just showed off. I really just wanted to put out some more fun Pride Month content in preparation for my next video, but I will say this. Nobody actually liked Mr. Birchum except for Adam Carolla. Certainly not people without lead poisoning, not even the Daily Wire fanbase, not even the animators themselves. Speaking of which, here's some piping hot tea that just came out of the animators studio, because let's be real, their opinions matter way more than mine. Hey, I'm one of the animators and fixers of the show. I thought I could maybe share a little bit of how we made some things about the animation since you commented on it. By the way, I heard some of the advertising saying that this show was proudly made in America, but we, the animation crew, were located in Valencia, Spain. We put some references here and there, like the poster on Principal Bortle's office that says Visit Valencia. The show is made using 2D cutout rigs mainly. For those who wonder what that means, is that instead of having to draw every single frame, we move a 2D model similar to how 3D animation is made. Shows like Rick and Morty also use this, but they have a lot more time and manpower to polish and refine and to make more complicated poses. In fairness, they wanted the characters to look a bit stiff and not cartoony, so that's the show style. But we didn't have time to make rigs for everything, especially for the characters that appear for a gag, so those were hand-drawn animated. We had to do it fast, so the animation is on 3s or even 4s. I personally didn't like the show, and seems to be the main opinion for the crew I talked to. Hard to be passionate about a show that opposes LGBT+ rights when most of the crew is LGBT. I would say, hope you like it, but let's be honest, so I'll say thanks for you to endure it. It's just the combination of the Daily Wire making a show that isn't made for anybody. The fact that they seemingly underestimated the intelligence of half their audience. The fact that it's not actually offensive in any way. And ultimately, the fact that the legacy of Mr. Birchum is yaoi art of their obnoxious, hollow Ron Swanson caricature that was queer representation that ended up pissing off the other half of the audience who actually thought the show was funny. And I think that's beautiful. Thank you to all the artists who inspired me to make this video. You're all truly special. And do you know what else is also truly special? The winning comment from the last video. Wallaby Damned says, God, that's such a good name. I'm convinced that guy makes TikToks at every meal he has out so he can count it as a business expense. Yes, let's go. Keep these John McEntee roasts coming. God, I hadn't roasted in forever and it felt so good to flex that muscle again. You too can be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below and I will pick my favorite one and give you a shout out next time and pin your comment to the top of the comment section. If you'd like to see me simp for my favorite game characters and get visibly frustrated in real time, please follow me and my beautiful co-producer Mitchell on Twitch and help support the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. If you would like to see even more of my clown mug elsewhere, please consider following me on Instagram or TikTok. My handle for all of the above is at QueenCokeFrancis. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done this already, please angrily show up at your child's school to complain about the current curriculum, but when you meet that cute woke teacher and your heart just melts, fulfill your destiny by going ahead and unzipping your pants and dick slapping those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. And of course, as always, until next time,